Now we will discuss about the reproductive appendages or lateral appendages, which are the reproductive. First we have discussed about the lateral appendages. Now we will discuss about the reproductive appendages that include stamens and pistil. First we will discuss about the stamens. Stamen is basically the male part of the flower, and that stamen has two main portions. One is known as the filament and another is known as the anther. Filament basically the long and slender like portion, and this is basically provides the attachment to the anther. While anther is basically the head of the filament, and that is responsible for producing the pollen. So this is basically the slender like portion which is known as the filament. And this is the head like structure which is known as the anther. This is basically the structure of stamen. Now we will discuss about the pistil. Pistil, which is basically the female part, and this female part has three main portions. First is known as the style, second one is known as the stigma, and third one is known as the ovary. Style is basically the long stalk Once that pollen reaches the style, that will start to become hollow and forms a tube-like structure that is known as the pollen tube, which takes the pollen to the ovaries to enable the fertilization. Stigma is basically the is found at the tip of the style. Stigma, what is stigma? It is the tip of the style. That stigma basically receives the pollen or catches the pollen grains from different pollinators or through dispersed through the wind. They are basically responsible to begin the process of fertilization. That style basically creates the pollen tube, but this stigma basically starts the process of pollination as that catches or accepts the pollens from different sources. That source could be of any pollinator or that source could be a wind. So ovary is the basically these are the egg cells of the flower, or you can say that these are the egg cells of the flower, and the ovary hold the ovules and event of the favorable pollination where a compatible pollen reaches the stigma and eventually reaches the ovary to fuse with the ovule. So here the process of fertilization takes place. So if we draw ovary, so you can see that this type of structure an ovary has. This is basically the ovary. This is the whole diagram of the pistil. This is style, and this portion is known as the stigma.